What if I told you that the boundaries of our understanding, the very limits defined by science and reason, are sometimes permeable? These 5 real miracles, events that have unfolded in our modern world, have left even the most hardened atheists grasping for words, their skepticism shaken to its core. This isn't merely about faith, a comforting notion in the dark. No, this is about evidence, tangible and irrefutable, that a power beyond our comprehension is still moving, still shaping destinies, still making its presence known, today. Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. I invite you to journey with me, whether you approach this as a staunch believer or a resolute skeptic. What you are about to witness will undoubtedly challenge the very foundations of what you deem possible. The universe, it seems, still holds its secrets, and sometimes it allows us a glimpse. Consider the biting chill of a Missouri winter, the deceptive allure of a frozen lake. For 14-year-old John Smith, it was a playground until the ice gave way, plunging him into the frigid depths. 15 minutes, an eternity beneath the surface, starved of oxygen, his young body succumbing to the relentless cold. When they pulled him out, there was no sign of life, no flicker of a pulse, no whisper of breath. Paramedics worked tirelessly, a desperate race against a clock that had seemingly already struck zero. At the hospital, the prognosis was grim, a sterile pronouncement of an irreversible end. Doctors, armed with all their knowledge, all their technology, could only confirm the inevitable. He was, by all medical definitions, gone. The air in that hospital room was thick with a despair so profound it felt like a physical weight. Hope had ebbed away, replaced by the cold, hard reality of medical science. The team had done everything they could, exhausted every procedure. The charts told a stark story: no heartbeat, no oxygen to the brain for an extended period. The damage, they knew, would be catastrophic, if by some impossible chance, life were to reignite. But even that spark seemed beyond the realm of possibility. The declaration was made, a period at the end of a life cut tragically short. The machinery was silent, a testament to the limits of human intervention. But in that crucible of grief, one voice refused to accept defeat. John's mother, Joyce Smith, a woman of unshakable faith, did the only thing she felt she could. She prayed, a fervent, powerful invocation, her words cutting through the sterile silence of the emergency room. "Holy Spirit!" she cried out, her voice resonating with a desperate conviction. "I need you right now. Please bring my son back to me." And then, in that precise moment, as her prayer still hung in the air, something happened that defied every medical textbook, every known law of physiology. A sound, a single improbable beep from the heart monitor that had been stubbornly silent. Then another, and another. John Smith's heart, still and lifeless for nearly an hour, had inexplicably, miraculously, started beating again. The medical staff, moments before resigned to loss, were stunned into disbelief, scrambling back into action. Against all odds, against all scientific expectation, he made a full recovery. No lingering cognitive deficits, no physical impairments. John Smith's story is a stark reminder that the line between the possible and the impossible is perhaps more fragile than we believe. Imagine the chaotic symphony of an Indian thoroughfare, a relentless flow of life, vibrant and unforgiving. Amidst this daily torrent, tragedy struck with brutal, unceremonious force. A young girl, her name echoing the hopes of her family, became a victim of the unpredictable dance of traffic, struck down by a bus. The impact was severe, the aftermath chillingly silent. For 10 long minutes, a lifetime in the delicate balance between life and death, her heart registered no beat. The spark of her existence, it seemed, had been extinguished on that dusty roadside. The initial pronouncements were grim, the kind that leave no room for hope. As the news of her condition spread, a wave of despair washed over her community. Yet even as the machinery of earthly finality began to turn, with preparations for the morgue underway, another current was set in motion. Her local church, a small bastion of faith, refused to accept the verdict. They gathered, their voices rising in unison, a collective plea sent forth into the unseen. They prayed not for a peaceful passing, but for a reversal, for a defiance of the inevitable, just as the last vestiges of hope were seemingly fading. A gasp, a tiny, almost imperceptible intake of air, yet it was enough to shatter the somber atmosphere. Then impossibly, she stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. She sat up. The onlookers, prepared for the stillness of death, were met with the undeniable assertion of life. The morgue remained empty that day, a silent testament to a prayer answered in the most dramatic fashion. It was a touch from beyond, a moment where the veil thinned, and the hand of God, as they understood it, rewrote the ending of their story. In the heart of Tennessee, a scene of terror unfolded as flames, hungry and relentless, consumed a family home. The night air, usually still and quiet, was pierced by the crackle of burning timber and the desperate cries for help. Firefighters battled the inferno, a chaotic dance of water and flame, but amidst the raging destruction, a horrifying realization dawned. A child was trapped inside. The heat was unbearable, the smoke a choking, blinding fog. Every passing second diminished the already slim chances of rescue. Hope, it seemed, was turning to ash along with the collapsing structure. The intensity of the fire made entry perilous, if not impossible, for the brave firefighters. They fought with courage and skill, but the house was an inferno, a death trap. The parents watched in agony, their hearts shattering with each passing moment. Then through the swirling smoke and the terrifying glow, a figure emerged. A man, described by onlookers as being dressed in white, walked calmly out of the inferno, cradling the missing child in his arms. He placed her gently into the care of the astonished emergency crews, and then, as mysteriously as he had appeared, he vanished. No one saw him enter the blazing structure. No one saw him leave the scene. The child, miraculously unharmed by the smoke and flames, later recounted her experience. He told me, "Don't be afraid, I'm with you." She spoke of a calming presence, a gentle reassurance amidst the terrifying chaos. The official reports would document a rescue, but they could not capture the ethereal nature of the rescuer. It became a testament to the belief that even in the most terrifying of circumstances, when human aid seems insufficient, a higher power might intervene. Consider the diagnosis of late-stage acquired immunodeficiency syndrome (AIDS). We meet a man whose body was succumbing to this relentless siege. The virus was rampant, his immune system shattered, his body was wasting away, a frail shadow of its former self. Doctors offered palliative care, comfort, but little hope of recovery. The medical prognosis was bleak, a slow, inevitable decline. His condition was not a matter of speculation. It was confirmed by rigorous medical testing. The viral load was exceptionally high, his T-cell count catastrophically low. He was, by all clinical measures, in the advanced stages of the disease. But then, a flicker of intervention, not from a new drug or an experimental treatment, but from a source far older, far more mysterious. This man was taken to a small, unassuming prayer meeting. They laid hands on him, their voices rising in earnest supplication, praying for healing, for restoration, for a miracle. 1 week. A mere 7 days later he returned to his doctors. They ran the tests again, perhaps expecting to chart further decline. But the results that came back were not just unexpected, they were, from a purely medical standpoint, inexplicable. The virus, once so rampant, so destructive, was undetectable. His system was clean, 100% virus-free. The medical team was astounded, to put it mildly. The man who had been at death's door, whose body was ravaged by late-stage AIDS, was now, inexplicably, healthy. It stands as a powerful testament to the idea that God, or whatever name one chooses for that ultimate power, doesn't require the permission of a medical journal or a scientific consensus to intervene, to heal, to restore. The realm of dreams, often dismissed as the random firings of a sleeping brain, a jumble of subconscious thoughts and anxieties. Yet, throughout history, there are accounts of dreams that seem to transcend mere nightly processing, dreams that carry warnings, premonitions, glimpses of a future yet to unfold. Such was the experience of a woman whose sleep was interrupted by a vivid, unsettling vision. In her dream, she saw her mother, clear as day, succumbing to a stroke. The details were precise, the sense of urgency palpable, shaking her awake with a profound sense of unease. She could have dismissed it. Rational thought might have urged her to attribute it to stress, to a random confluence of anxieties. Yet the dream's insistence, its vivid and terrifying nature, compelled her to act. Driven by an instinct she couldn't fully articulate but trusted implicitly, she rushed to her mother's home at the first light of dawn. She arrived, perhaps breathless, certainly anxious to find her mother seemingly fine. For a moment relief might have washed over her, but the premonition, the vivid imagery from her sleep still lingered. And then, mere minutes after her arrival, the dream began to manifest into horrifying reality. Her mother collapsed. The stroke, just as foreseen, was happening. Because of the dream, because she had heeded its strange call, she was there. She got her mother to the hospital with a speed that would prove to be life-saving. The daughter firmly believes, with a conviction born of experience, that God warned her, reaching out through the mysterious veil of sleep to prompt a life-saving action. These accounts, these echoes of the impossible, are not fairy tales spun to comfort or entertain. They are the lived experiences of real people, individuals who walk among us today, their lives irrevocably altered by encounters that defy conventional explanation. Some were saved by their own unwavering faith, a steadfast belief that anchored them when all other supports had crumbled. Others were lifted from the brink by the fervent prayers of loved ones, a collective energy of hope that seemed to pierce the veil between worlds. And some were touched by what can only be described as the unseen hand of God, a direct, inexplicable intervention that rewrote their destiny. So, I ask you, as you reflect on these extraordinary events, do you believe in miracles? Have you perhaps witnessed one in your own life, or in the life of someone you know? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.